Heidi ho, everybody. So, I'm coming to you from a rare spot in my house called the living room because everyone is gone and I am able to actually be in my house right now. So I'm going to do a video, and I got three things I could talk about. Two of them I recognize, and two of them I do not. So we're just going to go down the list and see what happens. Okay, so the first thing on the list is rule of thumb. So I came up with this thing randomly like years ago, and God like brought it to my memory the other day. He was like, "Do that rule of thumb thing." So okay, so I came up with this rule of thumb. Like I don't even remember what the context was, but um, I think just in general, it could be applied to this very rapture situation. So let's say you have a theological topic that you are arguing about with other believers, and the one believer says it's this, the other believer says it's that. I mean, this can go all the way up to, I don't know, denominational stuff. It's just something I kind of came up with. Basically, if you have to sort of decide whether the thing that you're arguing, like if you could be in heaven after all this is all over, and the two of you are in heaven, you and whoever you're having the argument with. And if it's an issue where you could both be in heaven and be like, "Oh, you were right about that," or "Oh, you were right, actually right about that," or "Oh my gosh, we were both wrong. We had both. What were we even thinking about?" Okay, if the issue that you're arguing about is like that, then just it's not a big deal. Stop arguing about it. Or let it be. Just continue to argue about it. It's not something that you need to stop being friends over. If, on the other hand, it's something that maybe, I mean, you're not going to know for sure necessarily until you get the information or you get to heaven. So, but if it's something that you feel that if they don't have that information at the end of this, when all of this is over, and you get to heaven and that person isn't there because they didn't heed the information that you had, then get in a squabble over it because you're trying to save their life. So, I'm starting to realize that, or I'm starting to look at the way that people argue and the way that and they're arguing on the basis of this temporal plane. So don't argue over stuff, don't rebuke your neighbor over something that's going to make, okay, if it's going to make his life here easier, when it comes to theological things, that's not always, let people walk their walk. But if it's like, I got to think of a good example of both. So your friend thinks that the rapture is pre-trib, you think the rapture is post-trib. In both of those cases, as long as you're doing everything else as a Christian, like you being pre-trib or post-trib is not causing you to change your theology about some other thing. It's not causing you to be a sloppy Christian or feel justified in doing something that isn't whatever. Like you're both walking the Christian walk the same way, just one of you believe is post-trib, one of you is pre-trib. It's kind of impossible because, I think that a pre-trib, I don't know, not necessarily, but you obviously you're going to act a little bit different when you think it's pre-trib. But if your heart is after God, but you're post-trib, that's fine. and God doesn't talk to you ever about it, and you don't seek Him about it, that's a situation where you could absolutely end up in heaven and be like, oh, I was totally wrong about that. Or, see, I told you, whatever. But you'll both be there. Now, one where that could not be true, okay, let's do once saved, always saved. Even though I'm hearing a lot of people, not a lot, I'm hearing like 3 people say, that you can't lose your salvation. And yeah, that's true in the case of God. God's not going to take your salvation away once you receive it. But you can absolutely throw it away, and He can't keep you from throwing it away. He can't keep you from listening to the devil and doing some nonsense and end up throwing it away. So, so let's say that your friend believes once saved, always saved. But you know what? Even that, if they, again, are walking the Christian walk, but they believe that, then it's fine. But so when you put it that way and you see that most things are fine, most things are fine. If you really think that your friend watching, the new Disney movie that's live action is going to send him to hell, y'all don't need to be friends. If y'all don't agree on that, go find some different friends. But like, because in that case, if you really believed that, then you would have to bring it to Him in love. And I think maybe that's a little bit where this stuff gets messed up, but not really, because if I genuinely believed that someone was bringing it to me in love, I would just be like, bless your heart. Okay, I heard what you said. Like, but you don't have to, like, the other rules still apply, which is rebuke your friend once and then leave it alone. That whole once, twice, 3 times thing is for like a church thing, like a whole, like something happened that isn't debatable. So, yeah, no, you tell them one time. And, I do believe, I heard something really great the other day that was like, I forget what the verse was, but they pointed out a verse about, correcting your brother gently in love or something like that. But somehow the context was like, basically like a Christian shouldn't go a day without hearing a correction from somebody. And that sounds extreme, but it's not. Like, I was thinking the other day, like, how we've really just gotten out of the habit of hearing it. When you're a little kid, you get corrected every day, multiple times a day. And it's a really that's a really important part of your life. Because it creates this constant, you're not responsible for very much. So it's a little less stressful to get all that stuff. But just the posture of just constantly knowing, constantly ready to have to straighten up for some reason or the other, is just a great posture to have all the time. And yeah, people can take it wrong, but we're not going off of what the world actually currently is because people are crazy. Like, we're looking at what the ideal is, and we're trying to emulate that. So there's nothing wrong with the ideal, and there's nothing wrong with that being appealing and being all for it. Yeah, it might not be, if you're not able to do that in a certain venue or not, that doesn't mean don't do it at all, or that doesn't mean like that it's not it shouldn't be possible and it's not good. It's like, that just means you can't do it, and that should make you sad, because you should always be having the ideal in your mind and heart. So even if that sounds horrible of an idea because of the people you're around, it doesn't mean it's a horrible idea. It just means, yeah, you're thinking about the idea of the people that you know, constantly correcting each other every single day. Yeah, to make sure I twitch a little. Okay, understandable. But there should still be a space in your brain for like, oh yeah, we should have that childlike, sit up straight, stand up, close your mouth, and you're hearing it and it's bouncing off of you. It's not this thing where somebody says, you know, hey, like, it's just like you're always just like, excuse me, get out of my business. And what is your business? How it's like, okay. But on the other hand, I can see how people can take it too far. I get it. But just because people take it too far, just because people are imperfect, doesn't mean that isn't a good ideal to aspire to. So, yeah, I hope that kind of went on longer than I ever thought I would have to say that. But yeah, I think a lot of people, that's just for people who they don't know. It's like, should I say this? Should I not say this? Should I bring it to them? People who are confused, or they don't know whether or not they should speak up, and what that's going to do to the relationship and all that. It's like, if you when you think about it ultimately and you zoom all the way out, is this something that's going to keep you guys from being able to laugh about this in heaven later? Is this something that if they don't know about it, or if you don't bring it to their attention, and not to say it's you're fully your responsibility, but at the same time, God holds us accountable for the information that we do know and we don't do anything with. So, and by and large, like, I always kind of know that, people's intentions aren't always the best, but you can always tell when somebody is trying to do something helpful for you. And sometimes your pride gets in the way and all that. But yeah. So I don't know. Are people already kind of doing that? I don't know. I think it depends. I mean, I guess I'm in sort of an environment where I feel like that's happening, and that's good. Where I feel like there's people who are willing and able to gently speak to you about stuff. So I don't know. I might be biased on that. I'm just like, yeah, doesn't everybody have that? But yeah, God told me to bring that up. But so I wrote this thing about how another random thought I was having. I don't even know what started it. I was like daydreaming about something or other, and I was thinking about how when people like take credit for stuff, like, I don't know, like in the music industry, and you come up with that lyric or whatever, and then you never get any money for that because you technically don't get credit for it, and you feel all like bitter about it because everybody is doing that. Like, okay, so I just watched like this Parks and Rec reunion, and they were talking to the black lady on there that I forget what role she plays, but basically she created like Treat Yourself, like everybody says Treat Yourself now. And that, like, she said that on the show, and a lot of their show is ad-libbed, like, or the writers allow a lot of ad-libbing, and it makes it into the show. So there's a lot of lines that they didn't write, that the writers didn't write, that people know now and say. And so she's like, yeah, I hate, talking about going into Target and seeing that on a shirt or whatever, and just like being like, I'm not getting no money from this or whatever. And, which is sad, but also like we're constantly trying to find ways to get paid, especially if it's something like that. And it's just like, you'll drive yourself crazy, like just trying to, like, you can't even just add something to society and not be bitter in your heart because you want some money for it. But anyways, but I was like, yeah, but you know what? What about when, I bet you if something bad happened because of the thing that you said to do, it's like if you were like, you know what, we should have put a little bit more of this, whatever, we should add this to the thing, and now it's like super addictive and it makes people die or whatever. It's like no one's in a rush to claim that credit. You know what I mean? Like people are just like, I'm not the one. You're backing off. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even like it. I thought that leap was going to be a lot more logical, but I can't remember. It must have just been a revelation because my brain was like, is that why like the demons and like, the devil has us do the stuff? Because I understand that already on the level about, all this predictive programming and all this stuff where they have to tell you the plans before they happen, which took me a long, long time to reconcile. It takes me a really long time to reconcile anything that is deceptive because I just don't understand. Like, I'm just like, well, but why wouldn't you tell somebody? I just don't understand. It's hard for me to get in the minds of people who lie and deceive and all this stuff. So I'm just like, but why would you lie about having it when you didn't have it? Like, it just takes me so long. So when I first heard about that, about like, well, they have to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. And it's like a law. It's like a law. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what that means. And then I was like, is that why? Like when I had that thought, I was like, oh, not because it's because they understand that God is scary. Like, so they understand the stakes and we don't. I was like, oh, that's why. Because I was like, that's so silly. Why would anybody like tell you what they're gonna do before? Like, I can understand, like I've seen like people who are like murderers or whatever, and they're just goofy and doofy and they're just prideful and they're like, yeah, don't check that box in the basement, guys. They've gotten away with it for 12 years and it just starts spilling out. Like I see that in humans. I can see that, but just the whole like, we're gonna just blatantly tell you. I think partly too because I was just like, you just told me you just gave it away. Like, why would you do that? So I'm just like, I don't understand. And I'm like, oh, because they're scared of God. They're like, you do it. I'm not going to do it. So they come up with the whole thing. And then if we take the bait, we take the bait. Like, and they're just like, this is great. But like, they're not going to do it. They're going to have us do it. Because they're like, we ain't going to go to jail for 20 million, 11 years. Like, they understand that it's blasphemy and it shouldn't be done at all. And so they just have us do it because, God is this whole system in place for us that we take for granted because we don't understand. I mean, later we probably will. Later we definitely will. But they just are probably in disbelief all the time. Everybody, like good, bad, all of them. Like God's army, devil's army, they're just like, they're just, we take for granted, like, that whole thing of Jesus on the cross being like, Father, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. And we can read that and we can have a certain understanding because, we know that Jesus is the Son of God and he's on the cross and they don't know and it's so infuriating. He's like, no, guys, like, this is the God, like, no, there's no creature in heaven or on the earth or under the earth that could get away with just like, when this whole thing is over, like, you can't just be coming up, like, I think about like that talks about the 1,000-year reign, and it's really way deep in the Minor Prophets, just about like, the countries coming up to pay tribute, and if they don't come to the thing, Like, and I don't know what these other countries are doing. I don't know why they wouldn't want to come pay tribute, but some part of it, I think, is just there are just some things that are always going to remain, and there's just there's not gonna be, especially when you've got the knowledge of good and evil, you've got free will, you've got humans. I think there's always going to be, when there's a kingdom, you're not going to have a perfect kingdom. Even after all of this is done and sin is eradicated, it's not going to be perfect My Little Pony kingdom where nothing happens. That's like, I don't know what it is. I can't conceive of it. But I know that there's going to be people outside the city, and there's going to be countries that come up and pay tribute, on whatever day that they're supposed to be pay tribute. I don't know all the feasts. I'm sorry. And if they don't come up, if they don't show up, if they don't even show up just out of, royal etiquette, they're going to be feeling some pain, because this is going to be a kingdom that's not to be toyed with. I mean, think of the most powerful kingdom that's ever happened. Just think about whatever kingdom you learned about that made a major impact on you when you went to school. And you think about how they handled disrespect in a time where disrespect could not be tolerated at all. So, not to say like he's going to be a tyrant or whatever, but it's just like, dude, this is such a temporary arrangement that we got going on right now. Like, the way that we think that monarchies are just over, and we just, we conquered them through grit and American or, human morality and wisdom. It's like, yeah, no. I mean, one can make the argument that the monarchy is still taking place. It's just undetectable. It's just an odorless monarchy that's going on right now. I mean, just see where the power is flowing. Don't listen to the words. Don't listen to the, whatever. It's like, those are the forces that matter. The unseen, eternal, invisible. What does the Bible say? What's material is fleeting, but it's like what's invisible is what's eternal, which I think is very interesting, and just becoming more and more true the more that I think about it. It's like, if it's invisible, then it's probably eternal. Just go ahead and mark it eternal. Which should lead me into something else that I was thinking about. Oh, so yeah, I was thinking about this, and I was telling my mom about this last night. Like, it just seems like Christians have lost the plot, because they assume that these things are these things of God, because we have built a whole system on them. A very old system, reliable, somewhat reliable system, based on the truths that are in the Bible and things about faith, and just the examples of so many people's lives. And we think that this is somehow something that we can control, and something that can be managed, and something that is, just like any other thing on this earth. And it's like, no, this is eternal stuff. Just because you're playing around in the sandbox of God does not mean that this is a controllable earthly thing just because we're used to it. It's like, no, this is still, no one's paying any money for it, and no one's freaking out about it. So it's hard to tell, but this is eternal, majorly like important eternal wisdom that we're dealing with. And it's not something like, you have to have respect for it. So like, I think it was, we were talking about, the rapture people, and there's still a couple of people, there's still a little bit of a dust up from the May 22nd day, which I just thought of another thing about that, which I don't know, I might have to just make a long video because it's all related. But there's still a little bit of backlash. I'm sure somewhere you can find some super obsessed people about this May 22nd, Rapture Day thing gone wrong. And, I was telling my mom that I was like, oh, I realized people really think that the rapture people, which I've talked about this before, but it really, really dawned on me. People really think this is something that can be respectable and respected. And when you mess up and you give the wrong date and you do the whatever, that you are causing people to disrespect Christianity and make it seem silly. And something in particular that someone said, I'm trying to remember what it was, but they made me think about the idea that the Christians think of it, they think they found the date. So then they go out and they start telling everybody. And so then people are going, what does this date? And so then people catch wind that the Christians are believing in a date. And then everyone sits around and they're ready. They're getting their mockers. They're mocking and scoffing out, ready to mock and scoff when that day comes and goes. And lo and behold, that day comes and goes. And then everybody in the world who isn't a Christian points and laughs. And, the late night talk show hosts get on and they show live footage of people expecting Jesus and then it not happening. And they point and laugh. And everyone points and laughs. And I'm just like, wow, you really think that this is you think this is about Christianity in the world. In the world? You're still living in the world? We are not the same. I really want y'all to understand. You are literally giving up the world. How are you still trying to base your Christianity in the world? Give it up. You believe in cosmic man God that was a baby. That's ridiculous. There's no place for you here. It doesn't matter that it's scholarly and old, and so many people have done the work before you, and so many profound people have, it doesn't matter that they have taken these things, these spiritual things, and successfully applied them to life. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The carnal mind doesn't get it. It just is a blank space where there's something there for, I won't say you, because I don't know if you might really be based in the world. That's why you have to test yourself. You have to examine yourself. Because if you're still world-based, if you're a world-based Christian, holy moly, I can't think of a worse waste in life. Just because I'm going to the church and you're going to the church doesn't mean I'm down here with you. This is, I know enough about this world. I am in the world, but not of the world. You have to be in the world, but not of the world. That doesn't mean that your swimsuit goes down to your knees. That means that you are excited about a different set of things. Antithesis, you're not here. So I have lived here long enough to know that what I believe is absolutely ridiculous. You should know that too. The fact that you're going, well, no, there's a respectable way to do this. There's a way that people are humoring you. Those same people that are saying that they don't know what a woman is are the same people that are telling you good for you for being a Christian. That's we're no. It looks the same. It looks like we're all living in harmony until you see that these people have just abandoned their minds to live here because they're trying to get the utopia here. They're trying to live in peace and harmony with everybody. And they still think like if you're not harming anybody, all this stuff, they're still here. So when you go, oh my gosh, and you get embarrassed on behalf of your Christian brethren, it's because you too are worried about your place in the utopia. You feel like because you're a Christian and because of your, what Christianity preaches, that you'd have a really good, solid, place in the utopia if it wasn't for these like silly Christians just here and there, bro. Listen, you and your utopia friends, y'all enjoy that. Y'all just keep lying to big, giant, burly men and let them tell you that they're 6-year-old girls. Because that is not what we are doing. We don't. And then it's like, and I keep having to draw references from the Bible itself. It's like, did you not see your master, your God, your deity, your mentor walk this earth and get completely demolished and completely, like, did you not see what happened? Oh, well, they just didn't know that it was him, but that was their bad. There's nothing you can add to his life. He came as a baby. They all knew him. He grew. What does it say? He grew in stature. What does it say? It says something like, wow, it's a really old one. I haven't thought about it in a long time. But I don't know. He grew in stature and favor. He grew in favor with God and man. Like, everybody thought he was cool. He was, cool people. At one point, it says his brothers didn't even believe in him. Which half of you goes, I can see that. And half of you is like, wow, then what is he even going to do? So the idea that you're going to do better than him, it's like you didn't get the memo. You're just like, well, I'm just going to be a little bit more tactful. Well, now some time has passed and now people have gone, they've come to accept it. They understand what, like, give up on this place. Give up on this place. Get your down payment for the next place, which is the Holy Ghost. The Holy Spirit is not, it's not something for you to shun. It's not something, well, we all ideally have. Oh, that's just your guarantee. It literally says guarantee. That's your guarantee for the next place, because it looks like it looks like if you didn't know any better, you'd say nothing really happened. But the fact that the Holy Spirit comes and completely makes your life a completely different thing, that you just sound crazy trying to explain to somebody how you were literally a different person. That is your guarantee for the next life. That it really is on the way and it's really happening. And the fact some of y'all need to be speaking in tongues, you need to be baptized. I literally wake up in the morning with the Holy Spirit on me. I don't know what it is about me sleeping. I don't know if that's just like, I don't know, if it's a dove situation, it's just like this whole idea that the Holy Spirit is like a dove and he rests on you, and like it's very like you can't, no sudden moves, no, like that's the only time where my brain is in a hot mess, that he can just come and stay for a long period of time, like while I'm asleep. But it's like I literally like wake up in a veil of the Holy Spirit, and it's fantastic. And there's really nothing else. Nothing happens after that. That's just how it is. Like, you should be having just not, oh, he lives in me and he's there. I just know he's there, but you should be feeling him. You should be feeling him. And every morning it's like, good morning. I was here before you even got up this morning. For no reason. You did literally nothing. You were sleeping. You couldn't do anything. He was having weird dreams. And then if I just sat and laid in bed, I don't know what would happen, but I never do because something is wrong with me. He doesn't care. He just leaves and comes back. He just leaves because I pick up the phone immediately and start scrolling for freaking. Actually, I start looking up like rapture stuff, but he doesn't stick around for that. Because I'm my brain, I'm not focused on him. I'm focused on, like, technically, in the technical sense, I'm not focused on him because he's right there. I'm like, not now, Holy Spirit, I gotta look up these rapture videos. Because I'm a weirdo. We're all weirdos. We all are weirdos and we're all not perfect. And it makes zero sense. It's just such a struggle. I'm so realizing like how it's like, dude, I am like intensely like not I am intensely dysfunctional as a being. Like I'm just like I can't do anything that I want. I'm doing all this stuff that I don't care about. I'm just like, how am I functioning? It's so acute. I'm just like, oh my gosh, can we just please? I'm ready to get out of here. I can't do anymore. So, yeah, so Christians keep taking things, they see things, they're like, yeah, that's cool. Oh yeah, that's acceptable. They're weighing which things are cool enough, which things are not going to get them kicked out of their special whatever. They're going to still be able to keep their friends that they have, whatever. And then they adopt those things and then leave out the other stuff. It's like, you're bringing spiritual things to the trailer park world. So really quick, since I'm already over, like I was just thinking about that whole, the rapture days and this and that. And there's another one coming up in a couple of days. And I'm like, you know what? Why do I feel like, obviously this isn't for everybody, but for the people that are watching, and I'm watching because I just can't help myself. I got to do it. So I love how on one sense, like I was thinking this morning, I'm like, okay, what if Jesus is just he's like, no, people aren't hype enough. Because he's totally justified in doing that. Like, I don't know if you've ever like been to a concert or like been friends or known people or even just watched, footage of people talking about, the performers at concerts. And then it's just like, you can't just go out. If you go out early, you're not going to get the same energy as a crowd that's been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's not their fault. And it's not your fault. But it's just like over time, they have learned what you got to do to hype a crowd up. And you can't overdo it because you can't have them turn on you because they've been waiting so long. That's why it's like when the act isn't even there yet, it's like everyone's heart just drops because it's all up in the air. But there is a sweet spot. And it's like, yeah, when you come out on time, it's great. We love it. But getting a crowd to a place, this is a real phenomenon that exists on the earth. That's real. And you know what? I feel like God is like, and I don't blame him because it's already not going to be, it should be a way more important event for way more people. But I just feel like he's like, y'all need to get hyped up, like for real. Like, I know you're excited. You're not excited enough. Y'all don't understand what's happening. Y'all don't understand. It's like, because that's really what happened. Like February, I was hyped. I was like, yeah, come on, let's go. But it was like, and every time that there's another day, the more I'm just like, every time I get to practice it, of just being like, so wait, so everything's going to be, so wait, I'm just going to be in heaven. Like, I'm not going to die. I'm just going to be in, like, what? And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, I don't know if I, like, and then there's just anxiety and just like, and then it's like, oh, it's like, it's not happening. You're like, oh my gosh. And then you're like, but still, I'm ready to go though. Like, and just going through that multiple times. And it's just growing the thing. And I'm like, you know what? I bet you he is doing that on purpose. He's doing it on purpose. Just trying to get people. It's like I was watching, now I'm really watching. Now I'm really watching. And it's like trying to draw this faith, this energy out, for this arrival. Because it's like he's about to come down. And it's like there's all this stuff that we don't understand in the spirit. That it's just like, if the faith level isn't high enough, is it going to make us all, like, all our skulls crack? Like, I don't know. But it's just like, you know what? I bet you that is exactly, it's like he literally told somebody, oh, God would never tell you the wrong day. God would never tell you, like somebody, what did I see? It was like, because somebody was like, either God had said it or they were drawing a parallel to like a dress rehearsal or whatever. It's like, God doesn't need dress rehearsals. And it's just like, yeah, I know God doesn't need dress rehearsals. Like, I'm definitely one of these Christians that are just earthly Christians. You're an earth Christian. It's just like, God doesn't need dress. He doesn't need you to be alive. What are you talking about? He doesn't need dress rehearsals. You need the dress rehearsal. Because you're about to be left because you're not even here. You're not even there. You're still here. You're still mad at everybody trying to like get the energy like up enough so that we don't all burn to crisp when he freaking crests the sky and then none of us get to go. Like, so it's like all of this date stuff, y'all think it's just Christians trying to pinpoint something on the earth, because that's all we do on earth is pinpoint dates and look at the thing and make sure our thing is accurate and correct and measure. That's all there is to do here. Is freaking measure things out and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're all on the earth. Of course, that's what you think we're doing. Meanwhile, it's like Jesus is like, he can figure, he's correct. Whatever he says is correct. If he wants to like fake you out and make you think something is happening that isn't, but not act technically lying to you, the amount of times that he's done that, like we just looked at it in the Bible, these prophecies where he's able to get huge swaths of information past us because he just the way it's worded. That whole thing about the beast. And I saw it. It's like, oh my gosh. He's been telling us for thousands of years that it's not a person. And he's able to do that. He's not lying to you. It's not a lie. He told you in full language, but it's like, it could still be veiled. Like, okay, so anyways, all I'm saying is the earth Christians, that's your new name. That's your new name. Y'all earth Christians think that we're out here trying to be right about something. And another thing I was talking to my mom about, like, how in the ham sandwich, what kind of flex is it to be right about something, to not be here to gloat about it, and it doesn't benefit anybody? What kind of holy flex would that be to just be right about the rapture day? No, everyone's going to be panicking and running in fear. No one's going to have time to reflect like, hey, they were actually right about that day. No one is going to, that's not going to draw, how's it going to draw Christians? How's it going to draw Christians when to predict the time and be right about the time when all the Christians are gone? And there's no way for the Christians to come after that at all. Why would he do that? Why would he do that? He's already told you that he's using the foolish things to confound the wise. Why do you think he's changed the plan on that? Did you become smarter? No, he's still using the foolish things because those work the best. It works the best because y'all just get up in arms about it and you tell everybody immediately. When it's super smart and great, you don't tell anybody. First of all, either if you don't even recognize that it's happening, and then you don't care. But when it's stupid, you're instantly sharing. You're like, oh my God, look at this stupid thing. Click, 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 click. He's got to do something. He's talking to you. He loves you. I don't get it. I don't get it. Not that you're not lovable, but I'm just being honest. I don't get why he loves me either. I don't get it. But he has zero problems looking dumb. And if he uses you, he's going to make you look dumb. He has zero problems with it because he has no pride and he is God and he's humble. He's got no pride and he's humble. So he's super double, not worried about it. And he just loves. He's like your parent embarrassing you at your high school, like on like a billion steroids. So yeah, he's going to do what he needs to do to get eyeballs on this event. Like, you know how I figured that out? Because I'm not an earth Christian. I'm not going, well, if God's going to do something, he needs to do it precisely. Like, how many times do you have to watch a documentary on some genius that was overlooked by like a gazillion people and had to like go like finally, and then, you know, when people saw that that person was a genius, when literally everybody was saying it and he was making a lot of money, then that's when they said it. That's way late. That's way late. You know who recognizes it? Like his freaking mom. Love recognizes it. Love and love. People who, even the people who just knew him and were like, you know what, you're going places and I'm going to help you. That's love. I'm not going to worry about what I'm going to get out of it. The world needs to know about you. That's love. Love recognizes stuff. So, but everybody else is like, it doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard before. Really? Wow, that's so funny how that happens. So, yeah, God is like the creator of those people. And maybe he's doing something different than what you think he's doing. I don't know. That's just a wild guess. Is that he's doing something different than what you think he's doing. And he's using the foolish things. He's always, always, always using the foolish things. Because they work the best on you, to be honest. Because you can't detect what he's doing. So you'll easily and gladly do it. Whatever he has you to do. Because you think it's beneath you. So you'll just do it. So, yeah. Y'all Christians, y'all non-Christians who never come across any of this information, you think it's completely ridiculous and stupid, by all means, keep telling all of your friends about it. But y'all earthly Christians trying to put knives to our throat for how you look to them, oh my gosh. Like, I literally want to cuss you out. I'll be honest with you. Just let the Lord work. Like, you're getting the biggest eye roll ever. And hopefully that's the last thing I have to say about it. But anyway, I'm done. Y'all be blessed.